parking lot, yeah. Yeah.
Bonnie and Sharon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh my.
We'll be good. Do you mind if I won't.
What? Did you forget something?
Well, I mean, that $300.
All right, we're ready.
Sure, I didn't drop it like in the parking lot. So
Ready?
I will
Live.
talk to you about that.
Should we call the meeting to order?
No.
You want to run
Oh,
out?
sure.
She was thinking about running out real quick, so.
Yeah,
Barbara.
some money went missing out of my purse, and I'm just like kind of hoping it's not.
Oh! Yay!
So just give me a sec.
1 sec.
You want
It's
a
okay.
flashlight? No, I think
Do you have one?
I think a flashlight would not.
You didn't see any money on the ground, did you?
Camp out.
Yeah.
Yay, we're so glad you're here. Pictures on. Fluff our hair. You'll be dry by the time we take our pictures.
I hope sit with us.
You can sit with us. Roll call.
You want a better seat? Show up early.
Right, I went to my son's daycare is in San Bruno.
Oh.
It's an hour and a half to get down there.
Oh, I believe it.
Kidding.
Yeah.
We are live,
Bruno?
by the way.
Oh,
We
wow.
are live.
Yes.
Very alive. Are we waiting for?
Barbara to come back?
I think, well, you could start on.
We can start. All right. Shall we do roll call? Sesame seed, crescent, poppy seed, bran. Okay. We are all present. Barbara will be right back. So I think we are not only a quorum, but all here present.
I move that we adopt the agenda. Is there a
Is
second?
there a second?
Second.
A second.
Okay. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
You found it?
Oh, yay.
Oh, good.
You can hear Morty's.
All right. Oral communications, public comment.
There was one public comment on Facebook that I want to bring up, and it was some Graham Douglas asked about us.
Could you bring it up under committee member matters? Because they didn't really comment to the committee, did they? Seems,
Kind of. Well,
How does that work?
I mean, we'll talk about,
sure.
saw that it was
Okay.
there, but.
I would think it would go here as if he was here and Michelle or I were just being his mouth. But if you don't feel that's appropriate, for whatever reason,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he addressed it to the committee.
he addressed it to the city generally. I mean, just sort of threw it out there.
What thoughts?
Okay.
I'm open to either, whether we do it at oral communications. or we
Because
do
it's
it-
not really a committee. It's
Matter.
something we've already addressed, and I just wanted to bring it up because we have addressed it, and I just want to make sure that it's still in effect.
Okay.
All right.
And then once I say it, then you can tell me that you'd rather address it later. Is that okay?
Yeah?
Okay. So he brought up the issue about using glyphosates such as Roundup. And on Facebook, I told him that I believe we already have a policy in the city that city employees and contractors do not use glyphosate, because this was something that we agreed on very early in my tenure on OSEC. And I just wanted to have that confirmed, and that we weren't able to outlaw the use of that in the city for the general public.
Yeah, I looked back a little bit, and we developed our integrated pest management policy in like 2003, which says they won't be used, and there's you know, the little wiggle room of when necessary, employ the least toxic chemicals, but on our facilities, we do not. I don't think we ever do.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I had stated that in response, and that Barbara had too, that with confidence that was still the case. Thank
I
you.
also saw some notes about this question coming up back in 2003 through the NIPD staff, and other agencies he had taken notes that other agencies had said local agencies can't regulate it, the state won't let local agencies. And
That's
Right.
too
Yeah.
bad.
And then it came up again when I first started on the OSEC committee, and I
It
guess
does, it comes up periodically.
yeah. So we just wanted to make sure that the city, city maintenance workers and the city contractors are still not using Roundup or glyphosate chemicals.
Right.
Okay.
And not to go down the rabbit hole, but just want to throw this out for future is our policy does say that we can conduct outreach, we can do pilot programs that are alternative and natural, so something to think about.
Maybe time to remind people again in the spring not to use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, greatly appreciated. Okay, discussion by Stuart.
I thought you were going to sit in the audience, Stuart. I was so excited. when
I know, I was, but then I wouldn't be on camera.
Ah.
Karen and Adrian pointed out. You get like you wouldn't hear, I'd be a disembodied voice. So this is in relationship to the money from the sale of the South Hill property. Back, and I don't remember how long ago, the city sold a portion of property to Shenki at 280 South Hill. We received $298,000 for that. We have spent $50,000 for the pedestrian bike master plan out of that, and we have about $3,000 worth of interest. So at this point in time, we have about $253,000 left in that account. The City Council gave direction a number of years ago for the Open Space Ecology Committee and the Parks and Recreation Commission to come together and make recommendations as to how that would be used. Took a while for that subcommittee or that joint committee to get together, but it got together I think a year or two ago with Kima and Kevin. At that time there was a discussion about doing some restoration work in Firth Canyon, and then also doing Firth Canyon Trail, as Karen keeps pointing out to me, not just a whole canyon. And then also doing some restoration work on the Crocker Park Trail. It's been
What was the bill on the Crocker Park again? Because I know some of it was going to be from the state, and then some of the money didn't
Well-
come from the state. And I'm just wondering how much is planning to come out of the South Hill funds at this time.
none at this time.
Okay.
So the trail, making the trail a hardened trail is a general fund and a grant process.
Okay.
So at the time, since that time, the Parks and Recreation Commission has asked Kevin to come back to the joint committee and talk more, instead of trying to figure out exactly what to do with the restoration at this point, is to create a linear park master plan that would be for the Crocker Trail as well as Quarry Road. So that way, having a master plan would allow the city to potentially use grant money, because we would have a plan on what we were planning to do. The master plan would encompass more than just the trail itself. We would look at any amenities that might be useful for the trail from a Parks and Recreation standpoint. It would look at what kinds of restoration projects that could happen along the trail, along Quarry Park Road. It would also probably look at the connector between the Crocker Park Trail and the Baylands area through the bridge, because I think that might be an interesting aspect for from a park master plan perspective. The tunnel, sorry, the other side, the bottom side of that. So that's what the Parks and Recreation Commission, Kevin met with Mary about this on Wednesday, the 2nd of January. And at this point in time, we're asking the Open Space and Ecology Committee to review those two requests. As far as use of the money, the Parks and Recreation Commission is looking at those two requests as well. The anticipation at this time is that the restoration of the trail, the Firth Canyon Trail would be we don't have a firm figure on that, but that might be in the $50,000 range. And then the master plan would probably be in the $50,000 to $100,000 range. But the anticipation of the master plan would be more of a community-wide master plan where everybody would be able to provide input. It would include hopefully elements of public art, hopefully working with the business communities to make put public art on the backside of the buildings. So having a true plan as to what that is going to look like when it's all finished would help sell all those kinds of elements to everybody.
May I?
Well, I was hoping that Mary.
Yeah, I can
Mary
give
had
a
the
just a
talk,
s-
and then
yeah.
they went out and looked at the trail. So
Yes, so post the meeting with Kevin Stewart and Karen, Kevin and I decided to walk Crocker Trail. And so I've walked on that trail. I just didn't know it was called Crocker Trail. So Kevin kind of walked through his vision of a linear park. And, you know, once the paving takes place, the hardened roads, I mean, that trail is gorgeous. And I think it could be a great linear park, but in order to fund that, I think you need a visual, you need a plan in order to submit with any grants that we apply for in order to possibly get funding. We just can't submit grants without having a design in place. And so I think between OSEC, the Park and Recs, and maybe even Public Arts, if we come together as a team in front of City Council and present the request to get a design in place, I mean, I think as a group coming together should be considered. As Stuart mentioned, maybe the design, I think it would probably be closer to the 100K mark and not 50,000. I mean, it's a huge space. It's like 2.2 miles. And I didn't know there's a lot of different areas along that trail that opens up into a larger space that we can design for, you know, small picnic areas or whatever, you know, is decided. But anything we do to that trail will be a positive to the community. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I hope the committee considers, you know, taking some of those funds from 280 South Hill and dedicate those funds to the design of a potential linear park. In addition, Kevin's on board with the Firth Canyon restoration. So I think that's a no-brainer. My understanding, this has been on the agenda and a to-do item for several years. I say let's get moving and get it done.
I want to add one thing too, is that the committee before, we talked about it a little bit last month, and there had been some discussion about Quarry Road. So Mary asked that Quarry Road be included in this plan,
Yeah.
so that might possibly be a way to get funding, because we would like to plant trees, but we don't have any way to water them. It's challenging, and
yeah.
maybe quantifying what we needed out there would
Yeah.
have some value.
It should be included in the plan, Quarry Road. It needs some TLC for sure. So that would be an additional ask, is to include that as part of the design.
And I think when you look at the Crocker Industrial Trail, it brings all three areas of the community together. It brings the Baylands through the tunnel. It brings the Northeast Ridge as well as Central Brisbane together. So it would be a focal point of trying to connect the community, and having a master plan on how that connection is going to work would be very good for the city. I think that would be Kevin's big pitch on that.
Yeah. And just an FYI, I kind of did a little bit of research. Redwood City has some tentative plans to put a linear park in place. The design company, it's called Sarah Urban Design, and there's some mocks of their potential design plans out. You can just Google it and take a look at it. It looks pretty nice. And it connects the city over to the waterfront. So it's pretty nice.
Do they have pricing? I think my questions are, I get the cost of creating the master plan.
Yeah.
what were the grants? What grants would we go after? So we know that if we create a master plan, we'll have more opportunity to get grants, but where do those grants come from? And then also, what kind of cost do you think the final would be? So how much money would we need? I know that's kind of all, but it's hard to say, here, I'm going to give you $100,000 and not have an idea of what the outcome was going to be and where the grant money is going to come from.
And what that entails, because we already spent apparently $50,000 on a pedestrian and bike plan, which I don't remember OSEC actually approving.
Neither do I.
That was a city council decision.
Okay.
We use that money for that?
Yes. It's hard to say what these particular grants are. I mean, periodically you'll get different grants from the state to, and different different parks grants from the state. Recreation, more recreation focused. Having a master plan design, you'd be able to, if we're able to do public art, you'd be able to apply for some potentially NEA grants because we'd have matching funds from the city. If you're talking about restoration projects, there probably are, there are probably granting agencies for restoration through.
PCA, I don't know if this would be done in time, but
It won't.
Well, I was going to say, yeah.
say you've got a plan.
Although it's been a while since we've waited for PCA, and that's
Well,
we just.
They
Well,
just released.
They just
Oh.
released
Oh, good.
with a very short time frame.
Well, that's a letter of interest by February 25th, so I don't know when the whole application.
Okay.
I mean, well,
Yes.
each of the committees,
We'll have.
Park and Rec, OSEC, and Public Arts, will all be able to apply for grants for this linear park because, right? I mean, it's a joint project.
Right. The projects themselves, it's hard to say what exactly the full cost is going to be because I'm not sure what the community
Right.
is going to want in that. If you start talking about some of the restoration projects that, to around Quarry Road, you talk about putting up murals on the back of some of the buildings. You probably want to do. So you want to do lighting. You're going to want to do some kind of recreational activities. You're going to, as Mary said, some picnic areas, some rest. So there's a whole lot. The cost of it is going to, it's unknown.
500,000, 700.
Oh, it's going to be
It's-
millions.
Million.
It'll be a lot.
So it would probably be something that we would
It would do over time.
over time.
Right, and without having a plan, if you start
Yeah.
piecemealing aspects of it, it may not work as
Got
a
it.
full-blown project. Whereas if you can come together and say, as a community, this is what we want to see the ultimate project look like, you might at some point change aspects of it, but at least you're working from a vision as opposed to saying, this year we're going to ask this company to put up a mural, but then 3 years down the road that mural doesn't fit in because what's going, two buildings down is something very different.
Yeah.
So having that general vision of it is very important.
Yeah, because we don't want piecemealed. We don't want it to be
Right.
Right.
not professional and having what we're all looking for as a community.
I'm
Right.
much more concerned about the environmental aspects of opening up the creeks and restoring the habitat than I am about painting murals on buildings. And I sincerely
You
hope
just
that's
use that as an
included.
example.
I understand.
That's why there's different committees looking at different aspects of it. And that's exactly what Kevin would say, is that there's restoration work that needs to get done in that area. There's recreational, issues that would be beneficial. And then from a public art perspective, there's public art that you can add to the overall environment of walking that path.
All right.
And we're not saying using South Hill money for all of the different elements at this point. I mean, for public art, you would use, the public art, the 1% for public art. We're just saying for this point in time, just using the South Hill money.
$100,000 for a master plan study seems steep to me. That's a lot of money. That's like half of it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's unreasonable. I mean, if you were building a home, your plans are going to be in the $40,000 range. So to think about a 2.2 mile project,
Yeah, but
I mean, it's a range, right? We don't have $50,000 to $100,000 I mean, we would have to go and get some quotes.
Put it
I
out
mean, I
to
can
bid, right?
I can call Redwood City and try and talk to someone there.
And what did
about-
happen to the pedestrian and bike path plan?
Yeah.
What's the status of that?
That exists and that's on file, and we reference it whenever we apply for grants. We referenced it
So-
for this Crocker Trail
Oh, good.
stabilized DG.
So, just as sort of a mental ruler, how many grants do you think the bike ped master plan has yielded thus to to date?
Just that one,
Just the one?
$885,000.
880, and it costs 50,000. So, we got a ways to go. But I mean, it's good information either way. I'm just trying to look at it sensibly, because I don't think that we'll see too many windfalls like this. So it's
I mean, we applied for about 3 others, and it was a really competitive time, and they said these are good applications, bring them back next time.
okay.
So, some of the walkways in town, the extension of the alleyways.
Yeah.
maybe
I would love to see those get done. I mean, ever since I lived up on Tulare, I've been wanting the one at end of Tulare Street to get done, and I think that's on the docket for next year, is it?
The one that's mid-block is on the docket.
Oh, okay. Not the one at the end,
Also,
That's
can we,
challenging with that wall.
that wall. Yeah, it would need to have like some switchbacks and steps and things.
Yeah.
So for
Complete
clarity,
Complete Streets is scratching their head on that, just FYI.
we spent 50,000 and we got 880,000, right? We can match that. That would be a good thing. It's a good rate of return.
It is.
also,
I think
can
I slipped a digit. Never mind.
can we officially change the name from Crocker Trail to Guadalupe Trail? Because I don't really feel like honoring Crocker Land Company by naming the trail after them. I'm sorry.
Kevin Fryer was okay with that when we walked the trail.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, by the way, there was a suggestion to rename Crocker Trail to Guadalupe Trail," and he was like, "Okay."
Which is
I
really
think
what
that's-
it was.
Yeah.
Guadalupe Valley. It's Guadalupe Valley. That's what it is called. That's
What do we
it
have
was
to
called
do to have
where they built
something-
Crocker Park
Okay,
there?
so we can name it the Guadalupe Valley Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Guadalupe Valley Trail because there's so many Guadalupes around here, and Guadalupe Valley Trail feels a little more location specific to me. So if we're going to go that route, I would.
I mean, what my suggestion for that would be is to, as we're going forward with the master plan and bringing that to the city council, just call it the Guadalupe Valley Trail Master Plan, and have the city council rename or officially name that trail, that as part of that process of the
Sure.
asking for the master plan.
Works for me. Okay, so what's next? Is this something that we vote on at this point, or what do we do? What's next?
Yeah,
I'd like
if we're
more
looking-
information before we voted. I would like to know what it's going to cost
Well, we're
and what it would encompass.
Well, yeah, I mean, we are looking for recommendation from OSEC, and this exact cost we won't know
until a master plan's created. So I think
until we get proposals from consultants that do that type of thing. But that's, I mean, the idea was that if you support it, that would probably just go to council, not back to the committees.
Right. What we would do is we would include it as part of the capital improvement plans that are going, capital improvement projects that are going to the city council this year, and then the staff would start working on the RFP for that. If there's items in the RFP that you would want to see, I'll have Noreen come back. If the city council approves that project, to work with the Open Space and Ecology Committee to make sure that your concerns of what's in the RFP would be in there.
Do you have any idea with what new capital improvement projects there are right now, if that would push this back again?
Well, at the moment, if there's only 2 projects that are being requested out of the South Hill funds, the Firth Canyon Trail restoration for up to 50,000, and this for up to 100,000, and there's 250,000 in it, I would imagine City Council would approve both, because there's no other projects competing with it, and that would still leave approximately $100,000 to do other to do other projects out of that fund.
I was just flipping through my one of my environmental strategy pages, and The two things that jumped out on me are building envelopes and transportation. And so I was like, is 25,000 enough to ransom our Caltrain station back? I mean, 250,000, is that enough to ransom our Caltrain station back from San Francisco? You
It's in
think?
Brisbane.
Well, I know, but it got pushed way to the north end. They had originally been planning to move it to the south end of the Baylands.
I think that's a Baylands issue.
I
No,
know.
I thought there was some drama about it couldn't be closer to the park and ride lot because of the curve. And that was the Caltrain. Oh, sorry.
Not that I remember.
Buddy, I don't think it's on.
It's on.
Rick.
I think no, I think it's on. It's just really low.
No, yeah, okay.
No, I thought there was some drama about it couldn't be closer to the south end because of that curve.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know.
But it
I
would
was-
be
it was
far,
mostly-
far more useful if it was farther south, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was mostly cheek because I was just like actually trying to think, well, what would make a difference in environmentally? Trying to think like big picture outside the box.
Well, that would make a huge difference because it means you could actually use the Caltrain station.
Exactly. I mean, like, I'm all for parks and trails,
That
but
would have
like,
to be, $250,000 probably wouldn't make any sort of difference whatsoever.
no.
that
That's
station.
not it.
That's got to be part of the Baylands development. I
Yeah.
can't see how it could.
Yeah, but they're gonna UPC in San Francisco is gonna keep it as far north and as far away from us as they can.
Oh, not if we keep it at the forefront of the discussion. Just try to worm it in there.
Maybe.
It's something to keep an eye out. But in terms of getting the mileage we can out of the money, I don't think
Okay.
trying to spend the money on anything sort of analysis with that Caltrain station would have a good return.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I was just thinking is, building envelopes and the carbon footprint of buildings is huge. And and we've tried so many programs over the years. I know you, especially Glenn, had to get people to upgrade their building envelopes. And like if we could, I mean, it's just throwing things out there. If we could do, I know everybody hates giving government money to people because they should be taking care of their own stuff. But if we could,
So, I would just kind
Yeah.
of interject that we
Sure.
are going to have this benchmarking and auditing
Yeah.
program getting started that's going
Yeah.
to address the commercial
commercial
sector.
side, but I was thinking residential.
I don't think that's really going to give you the bang for the buck you think it is. As
Okay.
far as our emissions profile, residential is, I think, like 8%.
Okay.
So probably not going to be the
Okay.
best and highest use of our dollars. The commercial sector is really where our building energy is.
Yeah, I'm.
Just a comment. I agree with you, Barbara, that that's really important, but I think, unless we get some federal money to do that kind of thing, we're sort of doomed.
Okay.
And doing it in Brisbane is really not going to make all that much difference. So, but I think the committee should consider a resolution in support of a Green New Deal, but that's another subject for another day.
Okay.
One thing that we could do, Barbara, that might help ease the pain of that is in our RFP that we include connecting the train tunnel trail to the train station.
That's a good idea.
That actually would have some positive effect.
Yeah, that was part of our discussion with the PCA grant when we were talking about doing the full Guadalupe Valley Trail and the train trail, tunnel. We outlined that in that when we were working on the PCA grant information.
I think that's brilliant, Michelle.
Yeah,
That's the
this-
kind of thing I was kind of groping around for, but
Yeah.
it came out of your head.
Yeah. Well, it came out of our heads a while ago,
Yeah.
like when we had that meeting. So I think that when, Stuart, are we going to put together are we having a planning session or what we want in the RFP? When are we doing that? Because we'd really like to have a big say in that part of it.
Right.
Absolutely.
If we're going to spend $100,000, I want to make sure it includes
Right. So,
creek restoration, daylighting the creek, the trails that we need, and trails onto the mountain as well.
I mean, we won't start working on the RFP until after the city council gives us the authority to go work on an RFP. At that point in time, what I will tell Noreen is that we should call together the committee for the Open Space and Ecology Committee and Parks and Recreation to review that RFP and then potentially bring it back to both groups before it goes to the city council for approval. So that way both groups are, and probably the Public Art Committee, are all in agreement so that when the RFP goes to council, there's an agreement as to what we're trying to accomplish from that.
And Karen, how does that affect what we talked about for PCA grant?
Well, that sounds like that'll take a bit of time, but I would, in the application, let's say the application is due sooner in April or something, I would say master plan is underway. And we anticipate, and this is included in the RFP to be studied and analyzed. I mean, yeah, maybe I'd try to find a little more, a little bit better language.
Okay.
This is in the master plan, not yet complete.
It is in the open space plan?
Hmm?
Maybe we could also refer to the fact that it's in the open space plan, or is it should be? It was certainly in our intent when we filed our PCA.
Well, you're right, it's in the PCA area that was adopted, but I don't know if it's in the open space.
Yeah, I don't know if it is either. I'd have to look. We've been so focused on the acres.
Yeah, but we will, yeah, I mean, we'll reference everything that helps get that grant. And there is a part that it's a recreational facility that you bring together habitat and recreational use.
Okay. Any more discussion, Glenn?
Well, sorry, one more comment. I think the timing is perfect, given that we got the grant to redo the trail. The next logical step is to, beautify it.
Actually, the first logical step would have been to go clear out the creeks and all the debris and all of the, but before they did the paving, because
Yeah.
that kind of work requires heavy equipment,
Yeah.
and it will probably not be good for the pavement,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Glenn?
Well, again, the resurfacing of the trail, it's not funded until this federal fiscal year 2021, so it'll probably happen in summer of 2021. So maybe we will apply for the PCA grant and optimistically get it beforehand and do them.
That would be good. That would
Yeah.
be the right order of doing things.
Glenn, you had
I just wanted to thank Mary for meeting with Kevin and for coming up with
Yeah.
these ideas. And I want to make a motion that open space, gives a go-ahead for this with the caveats that we've put in about how we really want to weigh in on the RFP, and we want to be sure that ecological values are a big part of this project. But I so move.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I just ask, that's for both projects, right? For Firth and the design? Okay, thank you.
Okay, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, Mary.
Thanks, Stuart.
Next,
Right.
approval of the December minutes.
I'm good to live.
I move that we adopt that we approve the November, no, it's the December.
December.
December, yeah.
It says November.
I know. It says December here.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the top.
It says December here, but
Well,
this says.
what it is that is the November minutes that you're looking at.
Oh.
No, it's not. It's the subheading is correct.
The subheading is the top one. That's,
Oh,
I
okay.
can copy them
I know.
one before.
Do we have a second?
My second?
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ayes have it. Okay, the 2019 work plan.
Hey, Stuart, aren't you having fun being here since you missed us so much?
I am. That's why I'm staying around. I just, I was looking forward to the work plan aspect. I couldn't leave.
Good.
Okay, so
Okay, so this is our draft work plan for 2019, and you'll notice that it looks really similar to our work plan from 2018. There were a few items minorly updated, but for the most part, a lot of the items that were on our 2018 agenda are continuing. So, 2 slides. The first is kind of focused more on the climate action planning slide, and then if you want to jump quickly to the second, kind of more of the habitat and vegetation management, education and outreach pieces of that. So happy to answer any questions or if there are any feedback.
Yeah, on number 6, provide policy recommendations to council regarding updating of the 2001 open space plan.
Mhm.
Can we incorporate the open space plan into our general plan?
I'm doubtful, I don't know,
Why not?
because it's not a land use planning document.
Um,
I'm not an attorney. Do you have any-
Did you ask for us?
Yeah, I mean, we can ask.
Because it was asked of a highly regarded person, asked me why we haven't done that and that we should think about doing that. Someone who worked on the original plan asked that question. And I really, when he said that, I went, oh yeah, it really should be part of our general plan.
I wonder why it didn't happen at the time.
Because the general plan was approved in 1994, and with Measure JJ, it's the first time that we've made that kind of sweeping change to the general plan.
Oh, so you're saying with the next update to the general plan?
Yeah, I mean, it probably should be incorporated into the general plan.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah. And
And I'm
so
wondering why it didn't happen in
Sooner.
one when it was.
I think because
policy.
people didn't think about it.
Well, I think a lot of people were like, well, we need to wait to, I think people got so wrapped up in the Baylands that it was always like updating the general plan was going to happen after the Baylands was settled. And so we just haven't updated the general plan because we had to wait 9 years for UPC to submit their environmental impact report. So, I mean, I think if anybody known we were going to be waiting so long on UPC, we would have gone ahead and updated the plan. But that's not how it fell out, so.
Yeah, I do know that there is a connection in, I don't want to talk about planning stuff that I'm not clear on, but in the acres for the, density transfer, that they use the priority areas when there's been one case maybe that someone applied for a density transfer and
Yeah, but I think the entire,
so it is referenced, so there's that, and I'm not saying that speaks against it, I'm saying maybe it speaks for what you're asking.
yeah, and I think that it should probably be incorporated into our general plan.
Yeah, I can ask her.
Okay.
If possible, absolutely.
Helping with teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any comments?
Because right there, it also goes along with number 8, general
Yeah.
plan, review the future of proposed updates. And that would be where the open space plan should probably be incorporated and updated.
Can you click back to the first page for a second? I read this a while ago and I just want to have it in my mind. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
We have a lot of work to do.
Better get cracking.
Is there any action we need to take on this?
No, I think
Just needed to make sure we approved if there was any
Yeah.
questions or
I
changes.
don't think we've formally all voted on a work plan in the time that I've been here. Did they with you? No.
Okay.
We're trying to make sure we're in agreement on what we're gonna work on in 2019, at this time.
I think we are.
Always modifications, happens with councils, other bodies too.
Thank you.
Occasionally
Thank
we
you.
get excited about something.
Us? Never.
Never.
Okay, subcommittee reports. Open space.
Well, I think I just sort of, we haven't met on this because we were waiting to,
Waiting for me to actually move this along. I think we still are. I did talk to the city attorney about the declaration of restrictions, or emailed with him. And he said he's anticipating bringing that to council in the spring.
okay.
So that's one part.
Like which part of the spring?
You know, he said March, but I think
Okay.
that might be April, early spring, let's say.
Can we schedule a subcommittee meeting?
Yeah.
Because I think we
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
look at the open space plan and see what elements we do want to work on updating so we have a better focus going forward with it.
Yeah, and I think
And-
it's having those meetings to get things moving along, so.
Yeah. Now that Ross has probably not quite as sleep deprived.
Maybe.
That won't stop for at least another 6 months. Okay, climate action plan?
We have not met for, what, a month? We probably need to schedule a meeting for the subcommittee.
Yeah, it was over the holidays. It was just.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, seems to me that one of the things, well, staff training and the lighting ordinance are things I would really like to work on.
We did, the city staff did put up a couple of the LED lights in the decorative fixtures, and we did get the chance to look at those. And give feedback. Was any kind of resolution reached, or are we still
Our
thinking about it?
contractor that has a boom truck and does maintenance for us is gonna put out a 4,000 Kelvin, light. I thought the 3,000s, maybe the sticking point. I thought they didn't really illuminate the area that well. And someone said they tried to read under the, I
No,
drove-
I
Yeah,
I
Ross.
wandered out there and stood under it and, looked at a piece of paper I had. We're not trying to be able to play basketball out in the street with the lights. I mean, they're
No.
just to make sure you're not tripping over yourself. And from an environmental standpoint, the warmer the color temperature, the happier the critters running around at night are going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Including us.
So they were gonna look at if there were any other warmer options. I was asking about if the globes could be filtered.
well, the
more.
globes are. I mean,
Yep.
I noticed they replaced the bulbs, but they didn't clean the luminaries. They were quite dirty, so that might also help if they just pressure washed them after they were done too.
Or it might make it brighter though.
It would make it brighter for the 3K bulbs.
Oh, right.
Putting a colder color temperature bulb with an LED and then putting a filter on it's probably not.
Well, I think one or
incredibly
the other,
effective.
not both together.
So
You'd have to try it, but
Yeah.
I mean, you up the light, but then you lose some of it. So who knows?
Right, so we just wanted to try this. I went out driving and turned my lights off, and I thought it was pretty dark. But also the public works director lives up there, and he thought the 3,000 were okay. Also, maybe at the intersections you put 5s or a higher level at some of the,
Are we talking about streetlights, right?
the decorative streetlights on the ridge.
Oh, just the decorative ones or all of them?
Well, they're all
Well,
decorative.
you mean the ones up on the hill? These are already LED, and those are already like
about the-
Talking
5K.
about the Northeast Ridge,
Oh, just the Northeast Ridge?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Northeast Ridge and then up Vegetation, right?
and Visitation, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've gotten the feedback. We just want to try the 4,000. I'm going to email you guys, and then
Yeah, no, I think it's worth trying it. Certainly, let's see how it looks, and maybe we decide to use a mix. Use the 4K at intersections and the 3K down the main streets. The lighting in the neighborhoods appears to be 3K. I noticed, so
At the Northeast Ridge.
yeah.
the
I
ones
just thought
that
that 3K bulbs would match that.
But I mean, there's a difference between Kelvin's is color temperature, and lumens is the amount of
Yes.
light it gives. So you
The-
really have two numbers that you're playing.
Well, the specs for these bulbs, were they the ones that we had mailed to Public Works, or these were different bulbs that you guys found?
I asked for them and I did not get the specs, but it's a lighting contractor that is putting these in for us.
Got it. I mean,
I need to get.
usually for the same wattage, the 3K bulbs produce fewer lumens. They're slightly less efficient. I mean, they're still considerably more efficient than incandescent or fluorescent or most HID lamps,
By
but
far.
they are slightly less efficient. So the lumens will be lower.
So I'll email and I'll get the wattage too.
Thank you.
Lumens. I mean, wattage would be good.
Or just the spec
Mostly
sheet.
lumens.
It'd be nice to have the spec sheet.
Specs, right.
Yeah. Okay. So we can kind of know what we're looking at. I was thinking of Ross went up there and read under them. I was thinking I wanted to go up on a really rainy day
Like,
There you
and,
go.
and
Oh,
get.
today. Let's just go
so
today.
maybe after this meeting, maybe I'll drive up there and.
That's a good idea. I think I'll do that too. See how bad it is.
See how bad it is, or good.
Definitely a rainy day today. Okay, now events.
So we have a meeting scheduled on the 22nd to meet with Park and Rec about the events for the year. And we also had a calendar, right? Where our first event is actually going to be in conjunction with San Bruno Mountain Watch, a planting day. But it's not a city-sponsored event, right? So.
It is led by San Bruno Mountain Watch. I think at the meeting next week, we're going to discuss whether we may want to put some city funds into supplementing what they are able to provide, but I think that's probably discussion for the subcommittee.
Okay. So we'll let you know after the subcommittee meeting.
Okay. Education and outreach.
We need to meet.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
We lost one of our members, and
And
we're working on education about people picking up
poop.
poop. Yeah.
Still
I-
bad.
Yeah. What about our little pilot programs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we had
That's been on the to-do list for a while.
Remind me, pilot program? The
We
adopt.
were going
adopt
to adopt
Oh, okay.
pick up garbage while you walk
Yes,
the trail.
thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that is moving forward.
Yeah, okay.
The signs have been ordered. I think they should be in relatively soon. Sounded like within a couple of weeks that should
Oh,
all
great.
be put out. Some of the signposts, I believe, have already been put up, and all the other materials are on hand. So as soon as those signs come in, they will finish putting them up.
And then we could do a big thing about it.
Yeah, we'll probably want to have a little education and outreach, put some things out on the city newsletter and social media about the station.
And in the Star.
Yep. Signboard, all of those places, yes.
Okay, invasive species ordinance.
Well,
Is that, yeah.
we met to do the ought to be a law narrative, and Glenn joined us on that, and so we're going to discuss that tonight. But and then from there, I guess we'll move forward on. Pardon?
Is Glenn also on that?
Yeah, she should be on that committee.
I guess so. I joined up for the ought to be a law part,
Oh, okay.
but
But she's going to stick with us on it.
Oh, Glenn.
It was a great meeting. We had lots of fuss.
Yeah, it was good. I'm sorry that we couldn't go the distance on it, but this is a good start. Really good start. So, and the festival.
I was going to ask about that invasive species ordinance. Do we have any way of getting a hold of submissions that have been taken up in the past? Like, what does a good application look like?
Yeah, well, he
mean the
has
oughta
not
be
the
a law?
application.
Yeah, there ought to be a
has-
law thing.
He has what was successful and what wasn't on the website.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, and I should go look at that because that was one of my questions. I forgot that was up there.
Well, it was tough timing for.
Yeah, I
everybody.
answered my own question almost.
There you go.
And festival tree replacement,
We discussed
we took
that.
a field trip without you. You missed it great.
It was a fun field trip.
Where'd you guys go?
Well, huh?
So, just on the it ought to be a law, your comments, Michelle, are all incorporated. Barbara, I thought your comments were good. If you want to discuss them, we can. Otherwise, they made a lot of sense to include.
I have a couple.
Okay.
Oh, are we going to discuss that now?
I mean, we should because it is this.
Okay.
So, yeah, please.
So I think in the introductory section with the problem that needs a legislative solution, it would be a good idea to mention that I think it's 50% of the invasives are sold at nurseries because
It says it in the last, second to last sentence. Half of all invasive species planted as
okay.
landscapings originate in nurseries. And the changes I made to this was I broke it up into 3 basically 3 paragraphs so for readability,
Okay.
so that it didn't, and then I also added, vehicles.
Right,
Right.
Okay.
and that's exactly what I wanted, was I just kind of drafted it, like,
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah,
good.
You did a good job, Karen.
And then in the solution section, I changed the sentence to ban. What did I say? Do you have it there in front of you? Because the way it reads right now, it's confusing. And if just I added like 4 words at the beginning.
Okay.
Ban the plants on the cow invasive species, yada yada yada. And then corrected that when you write the Latin name, the first one is capitalized, like Passiflora and Hedera should be capitalized. And then writing out the word California
right.
throughout the document, except where it says Cal invasive.
I just have one more, and that's at the very end under opponents. I think the very last sentence should read, libertarians and others opposed to governmental regulation, and leave out the private property because
Yeah.
we're no longer.
Right, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Good call, Glenn. This is why you're staying on that committee.
I was kind of thinking that too. I kind of wanted to take out some property owners.
No,
Why?
because some property owners will be opponents. We should be honest about that.
Absolutely, they will be.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the banning the sale. This isn't.
Yeah, well, they might, like, for instance, there's times when I'm kind of unhappy that I can't buy certain orange trees through mail order, and I have to go to, like, a nursery here.
Mhm.
And it kind of makes me upset. I understand why.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it will upset some property owners because they won't be able to get certain plants in in California.
Well, I mean, okay, so I'm not saying that this is wrong because I think there will be a certain number of people who will notice and be upset, but I think the vast majority of people just go to the nursery and buy whatever's there. They
Not
don't-
the landscape, not the landscape, some.
Right.
But that's my point, is rather than saying property owners, I thought maybe it would be more apropos to say people who normally profit from the sale of invasive species.
Could we add that?
Sure. I don't see
Property
why not.
owners.
I don't want to
And-
expand that section though, because I don't think we should have more opponents than supporters.
I think we should just.
Okay,
I'm
it was a
with
thought.
it.
If
It's
you
a good
aren't
thought,
used
but
to it, we can leave it.
I think we,
It's hard to say that.
yeah. I mean,
No, Barbara's gone.
And then I just kind of felt like we were picking on libertarians. Could we just say people opposed to governmental regulation?
That's fine.
yeah.
Instead of libertarians.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely don't mention libertarians like that. But
It was so funny when I.
it is a valid point to mention. I mean, there are going to be some people that are going to be opposed to it. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone, for example, is going to be upset that they can't buy ivy. At a-
Yes, there will be people who will
You
be
would be
upset that
surprised.
they cannot buy ivy.
They can come to my yard and get it for free.
There will be
That and the rats that come with
landscapers
it.
who will be upset that they can't buy things like Vinca minor,
Oh, this
you
is
know,
true.
and there will be people who will, who just love gorse.
Well, the only thing this would affect is people buying it in Brisbane, which means
No.
statewide.
This is statewide.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. This is the Outer Bay law.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Sorry, I'm still sleep deprived.
Statewide, so we can then,
No, I think it's definitely a good thing to push for. We have to understand that there will be people that will be opposed to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
We
absolutely.
can think of those people as wrong, but I mean, we do have to understand their point of view.
Yeah.
So Barbara's other comments, the part about allergies seemed a little, perceive it as grasping and might weaken the argument.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I mean,
with that, too.
I think it's true. I think it's valid, but I just feel like somebody reading it might see it as kind of grasping.
Right, because there's plenty of
Oh.
native species that we could be looking
Yeah.
to as well. So
But some of the plants that we're talking about on this list are some of the most highest allergens in the state in California,
Yeah.
like the acacia tree.
No, I'm totally agreeing with you.
Yeah, I mean,
actually.
it's a serious health problem.
But I think without further explanation, it sounds sort of like grasping, you know.
So we
Oh,
probably needed a background
Okay,
But there
reading
is,
on that.
sure. We
But
could,
there
we
is-
could add something in. If we're going to keep it, add further explanation.
maybe, like for example, these particular invasive species are considered the worst based on
Yeah,
particular stuff.
yeah, something like that.
or maybe we could refer to, you know, where we have all these background information,
Mm-hmm.
articles. Is there one on?
Well, I'd rather add the sentence in the paragraph so that it.
But we could have our backup too, put the sentence in the paragraph and also.
Yeah,
have a
instead
Yeah, except this is due
Sure.
tomorrow.
backup.
Friday,
Right.
but
Maybe
Okay.
One is
let's not talk
By
about it
1/18/19.
Mhm.
then. Well, I mean, it's probably fine as is.
I mean, you do call out the positive impacts, right, about reducing,
Medical.
right, medical costs,
Yeah.
right, that's important, that's,
and then you wanted to add a sentence that makes a point about the fact that the ag division already
Yeah.
deals with plants that are shipped in, so there's an agency that could.
Yeah, and just that this isn't coming out of left field. This is already something we do, and it's important, and it's big business for the agricultural sector, and it should follow through and continue through like landscaping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a number of points you can make around that, but
And the benefits of having it be a statewide regulation.
Mhm.
And some of the articles reference the costs for removal of invasive species.
yeah, I just don't think anybody's going to click through on the articles. So I think it would be good to actually put a sentence in our document.
About the costs,
Mhm.
the trouble is, it's really hard to find one, and a lot of the costs are connected with agriculture. I couldn't find anything at
Okay.
all on.
I
how
hadn't
much-
actually looked, so if you've
on how much it costs to remove invasive species, and
Yeah.
a lot of that is done by volunteers anyway, so.
There-
LIPC has $82 million in 2017. They have it broken up by state agencies, local agencies, and so they have a quick reference for just manual removal of invasives.
Yeah.
Can we add that in here?
But that's the overall, that's the global figure, right?
No, they have a California cost.
No, I mean, it's the global figure, agriculture, nursery plants. Our argument is specific to plants that are sold at nurseries for landscaping, and I've seen that page too, in fact.
Okay,
Well, I don't think it's, as long as we specify that the number we're using covers, I haven't looked at it, but assuming it covers both ag and, like, smaller, like, private entities or municipal entities, as long as, I think it's okay to use that number as long as we specify that it's global, just to add impact that this is really a costly problem.
Okay, we could say, and thousands of volunteer hours.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great point,
Yeah.
Glenn.
That is a good point.
Is that easy to add, Karen?
Yeah, we can add a sentence or two. And then I want to work in the word, population of invasive plants has the power to grow exponentially. We kind of tried to say that, but that's a good word to
Yeah.
bring the point home.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, if you mention that, you might want to mention because it has no natural predators, or try to make people understand why it grows.
Yeah, I think we did say that seeds and their root systems and all of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then under financial impacts, it does have the reduction in future costs related to removal and damage caused by invasive plants.
Yeah.
Yes, we put it there.
I just felt like
Covered.
quantifying that, like, I think legislators like to hang their hats on a number.
Yeah.
Right, sounds good.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Is there more
Yeah.
subcommittee reports? I think we were still on subcommittee reports.
Yeah, festival tree. So we started to tell you that we went on a field trip and we identified a tree that, it's a varietal of the California cypress that looked really good, and we had pictures and stuff. But I have not reached out to the owner of the property yet to confirm what the exact species is and whether they'd be willing to let us extract a tree.
Yeah, We had pictures and
Yeah.
look, it was really,
Nice. Yeah, no, a cypress around here, a cypress would probably be the best choice.
It's not the cypress that you're looking at. It's not Cupressus macro whatever.
she knows.
It's
More Christmas.
It's a more Christmassy looking
Much more
cypress,
Christmassy.
actually.
Beautiful.
It either needs to be a more Christmassy cypress or some sort of fir.
no, it's a
Something
very
Christmas.
Christmassy. Yeah, I'll show you.
Well, we probably
we'll
want,
do it.
I mean, once we find one we like, we probably do want to talk to an arborist.
Of
Yeah,
course.
we have one
And
Okay.
in town,
I actually sort of did.
and he agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, 'cause
So
he'll-
what
he'll-
we had done is our field trip was to really go into a place that looked much like, has the same type of environment as we have with the wind and
Nice.
and everything. And we found the tree that upheld to all of it and was
Perfect.
beautiful. It was a really nice tree.
Nice.
So
Oh, well,
it was a
wait.
fun field trip. No,
Yeah.
that-
The only thing I was sad about was that it was prickly.
Which
That's
is
okay.
good.
That's
That's
gonna
not
stop
bad.
the kids from
It's
climbing
good.
it.
I
That's all part
know,
of
but
that.
I like kids to climb trees.
Yeah, but
Well,
not when it's our Christmas.
There's lots of
Yeah.
other trees to climb, and
Well, including the old. holiday
yeah, the
tree.
old one is.
Yeah.
As they want.
They can climb
was-
it for a
I gotta
while.
tell you, it was looking pretty bad in the wind today.
Ugh.
That style cypress just
God.
always
So
bad.
it-
It's not.
I know.
Was
I
it
jump-
January? It was before our meeting.
Yeah, no, I
December.
somehow or another my photos went all the way back to like the beginning.
We'll forward.
Go ahead.
Anyway, you
Yeah.
can forward that. And then next is
Wait,
the
let me-
Littman. Are we good?
Yeah.
Jump in on that one.
What else do we need to do?
So I did forward this information to Park and
Thank you.
Rec because this is a committee together with them, but they are interested in what that tree is, and I didn't realize you were gonna see if we could get one of their
Well,
actual
it's a
trees.
possibility because they have them growing there, and it would be
That would
cool
be-
to be able to just rent one of those things that.
Well, how old are the trees?
There are a variety of ages. This used to be a tree.
Tree farm?
Christmas tree farm.
Oh, perfect.
But they planted the Christmas tree farm with multiple species in a forest type setting, not in little rows. So we got to see trees of different ages and maturity
Nice.
levels.
Yeah, because typically, as long as it's not more than a few years old, you can transplant it. without
Yeah,
having
and
to
there are
develop.
some that were younger, and some that were older. There were
So-
some that were large.
So I think that's the critical path is
No.
species, can we have one? Can we
Yeah,
have-
the larger ones don't take to being transplanted
No.
easily.
No.
Yeah.
Um, but
And we knew that from the arborist that we talked to, so we have spoken to him. So once we can, so that would be the next step here is to go and talk to the Christmas tree farm people.
I think so.
We might have to make
Well, the
another
guy,
road trip.
the old guy. Yeah, we might have.
where's the farm?
It used to be called Creekside Tree Farm, and it's on La Honda Road, down from Alice's Restaurant.
35.
Oh, south of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Wow, what day did we go? I'm not finding it on my phone. They might be.
So Littman Science Fair, Mary and I had an ad hoc meeting in Costco.
We did. Yeah.
did you guys meet each
Thank
other
you.
there by?
Yeah, we just happened to cross
Take
parts in Costco.
Yeah.
And we had a nice lengthy conversation about what the program is.
Good, so you
Yeah.
helped her to understand what
Yep,
the
yep.
role is and.
Yeah.
And I think Adrian printed out the stickers,
Here they are.
and there need to be 3 certificates as well.
I'll just make sure next time.
Nobody mentioned.
Well, I'm mentioning them now.
Do you have a version of the former certificates? Because I saw nothing in our files besides for a couple of sticker templates.
No, I don't know what Natalie used. She just found, I think, an online generic, or maybe I found that one. Maybe I'll look through my files, because maybe that was when
Double
I
check,
did it.
or I mean, I'm happy to create something, but what exactly should it say?
Yeah, I took them on
I know.
Let me see if I've got it.
Okay,
my. Sorry, I took.
let me know if you don't. I'm happy to whip something up.
I helped with the stickers last year, and I also don't remember certificates.
Yeah, well, in the past when I was doing it, we had certificates for the 3 awards that we gave out, and then stickers just went to whoever had a really used green materials in their project, regardless of, like, maybe it not being the most sophisticated project. Because there's just been a real big move on these, these projects to just use all these foam cutouts and stuff, and then the whole project becomes unrecyclable unless you're willing to pick it apart, and I don't think anybody does. So we had kind of 2 programs going on, the actual awards, and then the the little sticker for people whose projects were made use of upcycled materials or were at least recyclable.
So we haven't found a file that had those awards in it anywhere.
Okay, I might have
Found
I
a
might have
Whitman
done it.
folder,
actually.
and there were like 3 files in it, and they were
That
all
was
just
it.
stickers. That was
Okay.
That was it.
You want to see?
So
if we have-
I will check when I get home and see.
But if not, I think, and when it's coming up, February?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
It would be.
February 4th through the 8th is when the science fair is scheduled. And I think the awards night is February 6th and 7th. I put it in the email that I sent out. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Right. So I think please correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm supposed to contact Bob Detmer because he oversees that.
Yeah, he's overseen the judging in the past.
Okay.
So you just need to go in one night or 2 nights and like look at all the projects and select the ones that you feel like have the best, science and are environmentally, make a big environmental contribution. And we usually had like a gold, silver, and bronze
Award,
award.
which I think is great,
Yeah.
Wow.
And so,
Actually, I think we called it first, second, and third, but yeah.
okay.
but still.
Alrighty. Okay.
And you're going to check to see if you have a file of it
Yes,
somewhere?
I
If
think I
not-
might have the certificate. We'll try and do that tonight
Okay.
and let Adrian know if she needs to
Create
weave
something.
cloth or if I can just pass it
And
off.
does someone from
Oh,
staff
we-
attend?
Cloth stuff going on. I
No, it's the committee. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Next, the PCA grant application. So I heard we've got it, right? The application.
Yeah, let us know.
They've released an announcement, and not a lot of information, but letters of interest by February 25th. So that's to kind of placehold to be able to reply. So, we can, who's this up? Oh, Megan Michelle. So I was going to draft something. I can email it. We can meet if you want, but why
Okay.
don't I email it and see if we need to meet about it?
All right.
Okay, I
That'd
think
be
that'd be good. And if we do need to meet about it, I'd like to include, I think Ariel met with us last time,
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
so that we're all on
Same page.
the same page.
Perfect. South Hill Funds, I think we've beaten that one up. I've had a lot of conversation on it. It was great, though. Thank you again, Mary.
Thank you.
Stuart. Signboard replacement, Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I really want to thank Adrian for doing that back of the envelope carbon calculation. That made me, I think we all kind of thought we knew how it would come out, but I'm eternally grateful to see that it did come out well because sometimes you get surprises and it's too late to back out and you're like, oh my God, I'm a terrible environmentalist. And you have all this personal drama and you can't sleep at night. You have to start drinking.
That does not ever happen.
God, that's
It doesn't happen to you
Sounds like you planned
all
this.
the time. So I wanted to say thank you for doing that, Adrian.
I'm glad that helped you.
It does.
I feel better now.
And I'm really glad that we came up with that e-ink idea, and I think it was in the subcommittee, and I just thought
Yep.
that I feel like we did good. I saw the comments that people sent, and most of the negative comments that people submitted, I think were targeted towards something more like an LED display. I don't think they really understood the difference
Right, most people aren't familiar with the technology.
with the e-ink thing. I mean, I think
Usually
if you
just
told
tell
them
'em, "Hey, if you've
Kindle,
ever had-"
they'd know, but
If you ever had a first-gen Kindle, that's exactly what it is.
yeah.
And people,
So I'm hopeful that all of those, the people with the concerns will be mollified when it isn't this big glowing LED display. And yeah.
I think they'll be fine.
I read all of the materials and I never saw a final cost on replacing all of the boards.
Oh, it was 50-something.
50 and 25, right?
I thought that was just for,
Okay.
that was
Yeah.
just for once.
it's 25 per side since there's 3 sides to the sign. There's 2 on one and the other. It's 75 grand.
75 grand.
Yeah.
Total.
So what was the payback period was less than 3 years, right?
It was 5, wasn't it?
I think it was 5.
It was 5 years? Okay.
But that's not that bad. I would certainly hope, sorry. I read through the things, but I didn't catch. Is there a warranted life on these things? And is it hopefully at least 5 years?
And is there issues about vandalism, et cetera?
That's always a possibility. I had not really considered that.
Saw that come up in some of the,
Yeah.
the comments. I can't imagine.
Yeah, on the warranty, I don't think we got specifics, but its life expectancy is a lot
Oh.
longer than 5 years.
Yeah, but I would like to know warranty just in case it does go.
I think
Fizz
it was in the
before.
proposal, and it was pretty long. I mean, it was a,
Okay.
Yeah, the life
20
expectancy
years.
is really long.
Yeah.
But
Life
I'm wondering
expectancy is
about-
different than warranty.
Exactly.
Right, because
Okay.
the panels are actually off. Unless they're actually changing, they're off.
Yeah.
So supposedly these things will last for hundreds of thousands of hours of active use.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to know what the warranty is in case we do have a problem.
I'm opening the
prematurely.
file now because I did think it was in there as well, so.
Okay.
thank you.
to get through it.
But warranties are typically a couple of years.
1 year.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
like,
I think it was something like a 3-year parts
Huh?
and labor warranty,
Labor,
Right.
maybe one,
I don't
parts,
remember.
maybe
or maybe something like that. It was relatively small.
yeah. Well, we should try and negotiate a 5-year warranty then, because I really do feel like they should be.
That usually costs more than just buying a spare panel and keeping it in the shed somewhere.
Maybe. Okay.
So I have a question, Stuart. Is this the type of equipment that we might insure? Or is that not, I mean, is that silly or?
Well, the city is self-insured. The city is self-insured. We have a property. You know, we do cover property. I can see if we can include this as part of our property. But I think I think it's $25,000 is our self-insured retention on property that we own.
Okay.
You know, if we try and do something different from that, usually, you know, insurance is a gamble.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And it's one that you lose because otherwise insurance companies wouldn't have so much money.
Right. the
Yeah.
problem
Yep.
with the insurance company.
And right now, that's not the case for most
Well, the
insurance
actual-
companies.
Well,
California.
right, but as a city, you know, we do have $8 to $9 million in reserves. So, you know, to replace it is not going to be a large burden on us if something does damage it. If it's damaged by, you know, for instance, a car jumping the curb, which would be unusual because it's
Never had
happened yet.
before.
Oh, doesn't mean it won't.
Right, but
I don't
we
think
would go
so.
back after the driver.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
his insurance.
and
or her.
their insurance, and most people have an insurance of $25,000 to $50,000 for for the damage that they do.
Since
So-
I lived here, a couple years ago, there was somebody who took a car through the park behind the restrooms.
Nice.
Oops.
We've had people drive cars on the grass.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
Usually that's more deliberate for the
Yeah.
grass.
I think more of my
Somebody was
concern
hot
would be vandalism, would be
Yeah.
more than a car accident.
So,
Yeah.
two important things that I find in the proposal. One, the metal chassis and bezel with protective acrylic or tempered glass, removable and replaceable in the case that the displays are vandalized.
Oh, good.
you.
Okay,
And
thank you.
We would definitely want to go with the tempered glass option, I would guess, because it's going to be more scratch resistant.
And safer.
The second point says custom solution, including the e-ink displays installation and all digital view components, is 1-year warranty.
1 year.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's gonna be a
that's
tough
pretty
one,
standard.
Barbara. You're not
Yeah,
gonna get that.
okay.
We're gonna have to pay
Those
more.
panels are commercially available. You can buy a panel.
Get her
and
own.
replace it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're paying for the design, the installation, and then the weatherproof enclosure.
We can
Okay.
always,
The innards.
if we have to, we get a camera up there if people start vandalizing it on a regular basis.
Okay, so we're,
A camera's not a
Moving
bad
forward,
idea,
right?
just so you can tell if it actually
And
changed.
there had been a question about how frequently
I think
I
we
read how
choose that.
frequently it can, but I'm hoping that we don't do that.
well,
No, we
the
get to
idea was
choose.
to be able to have,
We, as in
This,
the royal we.
the people of Brisbane.
That's what I
the
meant,
idea
the royal
to
we.
have a few different
For which we
features,
speak.
and the report said no more frequently than every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, if it's 3 messages a day, maybe that doesn't need to even change.
People can only see one message when they drive by unless they just go back and forth all day long.
Yeah.
Some
But
people
you
are bored.
can when you come and you leave and you know.
Yeah, I mean, you could change it twice.
I don't know. I just don't want
We-
people to be sitting there going, is it going
Right.
to change?
No, I don't think that. I
You
mean,
know?
you do that on the freeway. I mean,
Right.
Oh, God, I've seen
well, we
people
do that
sit on the
freeway.
freeway on a regular basis, so it's a different.
We, you know, having it being able to be changed on a more regular basis than every couple of days is good because we do have a number of times we've had to turn people down for signs.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when I'm driving out, I sometimes will turn around and try to, I'm like, oh, stay in the road, because you don't have it on both.
Your eyes on the road.
I'm so sorry, because we
Megan.
don't have it on both sides, so I love the fact that we're gonna have it on both sides.
Well, we do have it on both sides. We have different messages on both sides.
When you're driving out of town, there's no message on that side.
Yes, there
In
is.
Brisbane, at the park,
Yeah.
we have both sides are covered.
Usually.
Yes.
I've always
Yeah.
had to turn around and look on the
There's
other.
always-
You
there-
have two different signs.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, that's right.
I'll tell you one thing we won't miss. All the wet, soggy paper that's all over the road right now.
Exactly.
Right.
It says Happy New Year on the board.
I
Yes,
don't
it
even know if it says that anymore.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've been here. Wow, it was-
It's not going to be Happy Thanksgiving right now.
it feels like.
But
peeling off.
on the bright side, you won't be able to see because the power's out in town.
Well, there's that, is it?
It is?
Yeah, my wife
Yes.
just mentioned that, yeah.
Oh, my.
We're on generator power right now.
Is that what's going on? Power's out.
This is good here, not at home.
Okay, so we have a generator in our house.
No, we're coming to your house
Installed a generator.
tonight.
So
Good thing
half
we
of
bought
our
it.
street is on half of our block is on the same grid as this.
Well, this one's working, obviously.
Yeah, and it ends at like my
At 8 o'clock.
grandmother's house, and we now live in the house next door. So we're the first house that doesn't have power.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Okay, so liaison for tree ordinance,
So
Ms. Ebel.
you're in support.
We're in support.
Stuart, you're bored already? You want to go home and sit in the
Oh,
dark?
I'm sorry, not to head past that. We are in support. Ayes, do we have to, all in
Okay.
favor?
I've got my car. I can give you a ride in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought we were already gone with that.
Yeah.
Well, we just got the tree liaison thing. We haven't done anything.
The signboard, did we have to do anything else on that? Because I think we already we're all in favor, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the OSAG is recommending. I
Yep.
guess it wouldn't hurt to say you all,
Shall we vote to recommend?
Vote to recommend?
but this is,
Yeah?
yeah.
So this is
Can we vote to
official?
woohoo?
So I
Are we
move
all in
that we
favor?
recommend,
Someone needs a second.
I want to vote to woohoo.
and you're going to second it?
I'll second it.
Yay. All in favor?
Woohoo.
Aye.
Aye. All right. No no's, and we want a woohoo.
Yes.
If anybody wants to see
Woohoo,
a first
please.
generation Kindle, let me know.
Thank you, everybody out there who's still has power and is still watching us. Thank you very much. Next, liaison for tree ordinance.
Yeah, we haven't met. I think Ken is trying to get everybody together, so I have nothing new to report on that.
Yeah, he's trying to set up another meeting.
Excellent.
So the only other thing is, are we participating in the planting day
Are we
on?
going to calendar items now?
Can I did not add this to the subcommittee reports, but a follow-up from last month, I brought up the liaison to the benchmarking ordinance process, and Ross and I discussed that, and he was willing to take that assignment. So I will add that to the list going forward, and we're planning to have a kickoff meeting in about 2 weeks. Actually,
Perfect.
yes,
Excellent.
in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Ross.
Thanks.
I'm so jelly.
Don't be.
I would have loved to have done that. I just can't right now.
You got enough on your plate. Okay, next, calendar items, correct?
Yeah.
We did that.
When?
Okay.
Here we go. Calendar items. Is there anything on calendar items we need to do?
I don't,
Bato kickoff?
I think.
Welcome new member in March.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bato?
Deb Horan's interested in.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, awesome.
So
Should be great.
new member.
I would be honored to serve
She
with
was
her.
going to come to the meeting, but she has an out-of-town guest tonight. So
I had in staff updates that, they're gonna be advertising it. So the position, the council gave the city clerk authorization to open the position, but they haven't done a bunch of advertising, so it's open for another month, and look
So-
for it in social media and,
people can fill out an application
yeah,
now.
and they should contact the city clerk if they're ready
Okay.
now.
So anybody who's interested in joining the Open Space and Ecology Committee out there in, oh well, the power's out in Brisbane, but
Watching this on their phone.
yeah, please put in an application.
Yay.
Yay!
Okay.
Because we have a big work plan.
Yeah, we do. What else? The only thing I see questions on is the summer intern projects for July.
That is whether we get a summer intern. It's kind of been, some years we've gotten part of one, some years we haven't, so. If we do, we have plenty for them to do.
Okay, yes, we do.
Are you trying to recruit one?
Not yet, so I think the city decides as a whole what departments, so departments kind of apply and say, I could use an intern, this is what I would have them do.
Okay.
And then they
So-
decide to fund.
We're applying for one, right?
Probably.
Good. I'd love for us to continue and expand on our movie series.
Do you have someone in mind?
You know, we had
Glenn?
the video intern last year and he,
Woo, the building shaking.
I saw that. The screen shook. See, he made the videos and edited the videos and none of the rest of us
Almost.
quite have that expertise. That was his major in college. So kind of be contingent on if that element were part of it.
Well, we could go down and dirty videos, that you do on an iPhone.
So yeah, we'll likely be applying for one.
Okay.
There's still time, so.
I mean, so,
All right.
okay.
Any other items on the calendar items anybody would like to discuss? Nope. Next.
Would be,
Chair and committee member matters.
I just had that one thing and we discussed it during oral communications.
So I actually kind of had this rolling around in my head for a while, but I think Glenn also noticed that there was a kid who was putting up signs in the community park, like little save the animals things, like don't let your trash go down the storm drains, and somebody was actually doing this at their own volition. And I thought, isn't that wonderful? But of course, I never found out who it was. But it got me thinking. We've had a really difficult time engaging with the schools. I'm just throwing this out there as a preliminary. What if we had a student liaison to the committee, who could just come for the first half hour of the meeting and tell us what's going on and what they think is important for kids, or
I like it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing. If someone is interested in that, it would be great to encourage.
I'm just wondering, since you guys are going to be doing the,
The
with the
science
school,
fair.
to maybe kind of bring that up and
yeah.
put that out there on that day, because
Yeah, we
you
can
have
do
everybody
that.
sitting there and you can talk.
Yeah,
You're going to be
Would we need
there.
city council's permission to add somebody to an underage person
Well,
to the
so
committee, or?
Well, the question would be, what age would you like that person to be? Because we can bring somebody from the YAC on maybe a quarterly basis to meet.
Well, I
you.
mean, I'd rather it be somebody who felt like they were part. I mean, just maybe it's just the way I'm conceiving this, but I feel like it would be more beneficial if it was somebody who had specifically interested in environmental issues locally,
Well,
who
we
was
can-
specifically attached to this committee.
Right, we can check with the YAC to see, we can do something with the YAC to have a liaison, because what we're trying to do with the youth advisory committee is to make them more in leadership
Mm-hmm.
people. So if there's somebody there who might be of interest, or we make that an aspect of the YAC to be a liaison with the open space and ecology committee. we
I
might
mean, I feel
attract
like
somebody
I'd
that.
rather have somebody who could come every month.
We can check on that.
Yeah, and then I don't want to take away from Yak stuff.
If they couldn't come every month, maybe they could meet with the Education and Outreach Subcommittee.
Sure,
because
sure, that would be another.
That would be less demanding, and, we might be more likely to get a taker
Okay, sure.
and ask that much.
And I think you can't call them your committee member without changing the bylaws.
Okay.
But I mean,
We call them like an honorary committee member.
I don't care what we call
What
them.
do we call them? I would like them to feel fully incorporated.
I
But-
think someone from the YAC is an easier pathway because
Yeah.
committee.
If-
And Julia was on that, our intern was on the youth advisory committee when she was younger, so.
If there's somebody good on Yak, yes, why not?
Okay.
And if nobody wants to do it, then we figure out Plan B.
I mean, we can do an outreach through the YAC to find somebody.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Stuart.
Good idea.
Anything else?
Any staff updates? Is there any other chair and committee matters?
No.
Member matters, no? All right, staff updates? If we could get an update.
LED lighting retrofit at City Hall is underway
Awesome.
Yay.
today. Should be done in about a week. We talked about the ridge. We talked about the declaration of restrictions. The city park and rec staff is looking into a permanent modular at BES for the after-school program, and I am helping them with looking into solar for our new ordinance to see if it'll be feasible. There are trees to the south, but
Great.
we're applying
Great.
the ordinance to that. We've been working on a file retention policy within the city, and that's about paper files primarily, but we are looking at it with an eye to electronic files and having a retention policy and moving towards using less paper. We're also implementing, we've purchased Adobe Acrobat Pro for file sharing, e-signing, and we're testing it out with council agenda packets and then trying to broaden it to more city functions. Annual vegetation management is happening late this year, so it's happening in the winter. I guess those guys are out in the rain sometimes. So it's underway, and they think it'll be about 2 more months of work, and then they'll work on fennel when it pops up in summer, early summer. And we talked about the tree ordinance subcommittee, and we talked about the open seat. So that's all I have.
About the what?
Open seat.
Open.
So I mentioned the benchmarking kickoff meeting. The contract for the consultant is on the council's agenda for tomorrow. So that is moving forward. I have also been, actually today, participated via webinar in a county-wide meeting on reach codes. So the county is actually leading a working group to develop reach codes for the next code cycle regarding building electrification and electric vehicle infrastructure. So Ken from planning participated in that webinar with me, and the state is doing a cost effectiveness study, and the county working group would be kind of taking the next step in creating that model ordinance for cities to use. So seems like there's some promising opportunity there for further reach codes,
Great.
and the details, will be worked out through that working group. They are also doing some quantification of further electrification measures for the climate action plan templates. So Peninsula Clean Energy has funded the RICAPS consultants, DNVGL, to quantify 8 or so further measures. You might remember that survey that we did a while back. So
That's
they
good
kind of
news.
narrowed down the list and resurveyed us, and we'll have that available, I believe they said in April. So that is moving forward as well. And we already talked about the Adopt a Spot program, and I think that's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just a couple of questions. The Open Space Committee, I think it was last fall sometime, asked the council to consider appropriating $1,000 for the Least Developed Countries Fund. I was just wondering what's happened with that. And the second question I have is about another request we made to council a long time ago about landscaping coverage. And I bring that up specifically because I've been reading so many alarming things about insectageddon. Insect populations are just crashing all over the world, and when they do, everything else will crash. So those are my questions.
So I'll take the first question. That was on my back burner and is still on my to-do list. I'm hoping to bring that forward, in the next couple of months at most. There was some inquiry about it recently. So one thing that I think I want to kind of think through is how we can do that to have the most impact, whether we should talk with Alex again, see where Seattle, where their appetite might be if we move something forward in conjunction with another city. Maybe it makes a bigger splash and get some attention from other jurisdictions to follow suit. So, but yes, I have not lost sight of that. It will be coming forward. And then, do you want to take the second one?
And we got direction from council, and it's just, I haven't moved it forward yet, or we haven't.
So what was the direction from council?
Well, I talked about it in a previous meeting, and now I don't have my notes with me, but
Okay.
do you remember? That one might have been ready to bring to the full council. They wanted us to do more on, so there were a few letters, right? And they wanted us to do more on the Levinson Peking Handicraft, and when we look at the open space plan, how does that fall in the priorities?
Mhm.
And then this one might have been ready to bring to council.
Okay.
This is the landscaping coverage on lots that you're talking about?
And then we also had the one where the interior courtyards. God, what do you like? It doesn't have a name.
Well, we,
Right, counted as lot coverage, and that one they said when they
Yeah.
look at the zoning regulations for the acres, that would be,
Okay.
that would be incorporated.
yeah, we can't lose sight of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have them on a list. It probably should be, we can add it.
Yeah, I mean, if we could have the list of like outstanding issues added to our outstanding projects added to one of our slides, just so, because we all like sit here and we're like, 3 months go by and we're like, oh yeah, what happened with that? You know?
It's on our to-do list.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Is that it?
Next meeting is
Yep.
February
Next meeting's
20th.
February 20th. And,
I move we adjourn.
all right, second?
Second.
All right,
Hey,
all
hey,
in
hey,
favor?
hey, I'm gonna
We're
fight you.
out of here. This meeting is adjourned. Beep, beep.
Thank you.
Taking my pen back.
You can have your pen back. See, I like to scribble. I'm gonna put this down.
Wait, you said February 2nd?
February
20th.
20th.
20th. Oh,
20.
God.
20.